It's interesting because I know that there's so many things that I love about this Superman that we've created together as a group. There's so many people involved, but I think that he is more like Superman from the comics than any Superman we've seen before. He's a completely good-natured guy who loves kids and loves life and loves people and loves saving people. He loves his job, really, of being Superman. But he also lives in a world with, fantastical, happenings and science that's almost like sorcery and flying dogs and robots and other superheroes. So he lives in a world that's more, more closely aligned with DC Comics. And I think it's cool to be able to see him within that environment. But I think every Superman has been unique. I think whether it's, Chris or Brandon or Henry or Tyler, they've all really been excellent, great Supermans who have each brought their individual thing to it. And I think David does that same thing, and he's a spectacular guy. Great. I think that first of all, the argument that the trunks are silly seems silly to me, considering he's wearing a costume and has a cape that he walks around in. So the guy's wearing a cape. I'm not sure trunks are any sillier than a cape. But we did go through many, many rounds of designing the outfit, and we designed it with the trunks and without the trunks. And I really thought I was going to go without the trunks. And I'm like, you know what, Juliana's our costume designer, who's done all my movies. And I said, can you try just make one of each? Make one with the trunks and without trunks. We'll test them both in front of the camera. David comes in. He's got his big bushy hair because it was before it was cut like Superman, and he, wears the outfit without the trunks, and I'm like, it looks cool. And then he wears it with the trunks, and I go, it looks pretty good, but I think I like without trunks more, David. And I'm like, which one do you like more? And David says, I like trunks. I said, really? Why do you like trunks? And he said, because he's an alien from outer space that has come down. He shoots beams out of his eyes. He flies. He can smash buildings. He doesn't want to be scary to kids. He wants kids to like him. And he's going to wear the outfit that is the least scary outfit he can possibly wear. He's the opposite of Batman in that way. It's the reason why he and Batman make such a great team, I think. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And so, trunks it was. Yeah, well, I think, first of all, he looks like Superman, so there's that. I think, secondly, with this Superman, I needed somebody who was really able to go there dramatically, but also had humorous chops and could do the physicality, which is really, really rigorous in this film. And David's an amazing athlete, and so he was the right guy in all those ways. Well, I mean, I think it's like anybody. I think it's like any story. You have multiple characters in any story. It just so happens that Superman's group of friends are a group of, corporate, owned superheroes. So he's got his work friends with the Daily Planet, and he's got his play friends with the superheroes, and that's just a part of the movie. Like anything, it's part of the environment. One of the things we're doing in the DCU is creating a world in which metahumans have existed for 300 years. It's a part of the surroundings. It's as normal to them as would be a fighter jet. It's not something that's way crazy to the world of the DCU. And every person that's picked up a comic book in our lifetimes, in the lifetime of almost anyone who's alive today, has picked up a comic book where they enter the same world. When I was reading comics in the 70s, I was a very small child, and I picked up my first Superman comics, he had other superheroes around him. That's always been a part of the comics. It's never been anything else except for maybe from 1938 to 1942. So it's something that we're all used to when we read comics. I think really for me it's all a matter of just finding the grounding of Superman being real and simultaneously accepting the magic of the DC universe, and trying to find the balance between those two things, between a grounded character who has real thoughts, real feelings, real challenges, real flaws, real virtues, and is surrounded by other characters that are similarly grounded. And yet it's in a world where people can fly, and a dog can fly, and there's robots and giant monsters and everything else. What Superman means to me, basic human kindness despite whatever else is facing you. Oh, I think I was just incredibly excited about showing Clark as I experience him, and it says it in the script. I mean, oftentimes you hear people say, you know, Superman's the real guy and Clark's the secret identity, and I don't believe that. I don't believe anyone knows Superman unless they know Superman and Clark Kent. They are both sides of his real personality, and we get to see a lot of Clark in this movie in his natural environment with people who know who he is, because some of the Justice Gang knows who he is, Mom and Pa Kent know who he is, and Lois knows who he is. So we get to see full Clark a lot. And that's something we really haven't seen much of in the movies. It's always been Superman and Clark, with the glasses and the bumbling thing. It hasn't been both, the magic glasses, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we 3D, we photographed my dog in 3D modeling and just took my dog and turned him white, and that's Krypto. Krypto, my dog was a terrible dog. I was beginning to write the script, and my dog kept tearing up my whole house. He was just awful. He came from a very bad situation where he was hoarded by somebody who had 60 dogs in their backyard. He didn't know human beings for the first year of his life, and was scared of me, but also ate my laptop and tore up all my furniture, and did everything you can imagine. And I thought, oh my gosh, what if he had superpowers? And I'd really be in trouble. My house would look like an ant farm. And that was sort of the idea that made me, okay, maybe I'll deal with Krypto.